Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Coffee here, and today we're back with something a little bit different. This was a viewer's request. The question was, how do I digitally color? Now, this is a question I've gotten actually quite a few times before, and I thought I had answered it, but apparently it slipped my mind, so I do apologize if you've asked me to do this video before and I didn't do it. So here is the video today. So we're going to show you two different ways that you can digitally color if you have, I'm just working with an Apple tablet. The one I have is I want to say it's the 8th gen 12.9 inch screen. So that is what I'm going to work with today. I don't know how this works on Android or any other device. I'm just going to use Procreate today. So first things first, there's two ways you can do this, like I said. If you are someone who likes to buy coloring pages, like I do, so if you go on Etsy or if you go on an artist's website and they have like a digital coloring book, there are ways that you can use that digital coloring book in Procreate to color with. So let me get my glove on here. Yes, the glove does work with the nails. So first things first, so last night in preparation for this video, I do have some Hannah Lynn's available for me to go ahead and download, but I also bought this. So we're going to view files on Etsy. It's going to take you to the web browser. We're going to download those files. So you can see down here it says download. Make sure you can see it. So we're going to download. It'll take it a minute to download. Open in. Now usually in here it will say Procreate, but you can put it in like your download files or whatever you like to store yours in. It'll even give you more options if it didn't have the option that you wanted. So let's say we put it in Notes or something. You can put it in Notes. You can save it there. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it in Procreate. So it's importing it to Procreate. Hopefully not on the page I was coloring. And there it is. And this Page Assist gives you all the pages that were added into Procreate. Okay? So it does start a new page. So then to color it, let's find one that's really simple. We're going to do this one. To color it, what you want to do, and it has all these files here. And one of the big things that I like to do is I like to separate them because I don't want all those files in the same thing as my coloring. So what I do is I come out, I press New Page, and I just do screen size. I'm going to grab my little chibi girl here. So I'm going to find the layer that she's on. And don't worry, this duplicates it. It doesn't delete it out of here. So I'm going to push and hold until it comes off. So did you see what I did there? I just tapped on it and held it until it moved and it came off. And then I'm going to tap Gallery while I'm still holding it. Tap on the new page. And then drop it. It imported it right into there. And because I have this in landscape and not the way that the picture is, you can rotate that image. So all you would have to do is click that arrow to rotate. And then we're just going to size it. Make sure it says uniform so that nothing gets distorted. And then there you have it. There's your little chibi girl that you just downloaded. So, how do we color it? Same way you would color anything else. Now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go tap this little N here that says normal. And I'm going to go to multiply. It just kind of darkens your lines a little bit. Now, you can do drag and drop, which if you don't know what that means, let's pick a color for her dress. Let's pick kind of like a periwinkle color almost. Drag and drop means just that. So you press and hold on a color and you just drop it to your picture. And see how it fills it in. A lot of people like doing drag and drop, but if you're looking to keep that separated, it keeps changing colors on me. So we're going to do this color under here. and then it swaps back to the other color we're going to do on top. So that's how you drag and drop. But say you don't want to drag and drop and you want to color it in underneath it. So you can color it in that way, which is no problem because you'll have copies of it. And just to show you, so here's the little girl with the bunny. Here's the same little girl. So again, it doesn't delete it. It just makes a copy of it. Okay. And then what you can do is lock this layer. And you're going to put every other layer underneath that one. So that when you go to do your layers, nothing's sitting on top of the line. Because this is what happens if you try to color on top of that line. So we're going to add a layer, layer 3. And then if you try to color on top of that line, let's find a bigger brush here. We're going to use this soft brush. So if I try to color on top of those lines, see how it goes on top? But then if I move that layer underneath, you can see the black line again. So you want to make sure that when you're coloring, that your layers are underneath that image layer. And I locked it just so it knew that this is the layer that I want to use kind of as a reference. And they do have it where you can tap on it and make it a reference. So that once you get that layer underneath, you can either choose to color it in this way where you're just coloring it in. You can drag and drop in here because that top layer above it is a reference layer. So you can drag and drop your colors in. We're going to color in here. You just got to watch that you're not on the lines, because if you do it on the lines, it will make the lines that color. So feel free to zoom in. And then we're going to do like a peachy color for her dress. And if you don't feel like dragging and dropping and you're using the same color, a trick that I found is continue filling layer. The problem with this is you then have to find where that plus symbol is. So, oh, there we go. So if you drag and drop and then continue filling layer, there's a little plus symbol that shows up. It's a little hard to see, but it's right there. And what you would do is you just tap where you want to fill in the rest of that color. So you don't have to keep dragging and dropping. You can do the refill color. And I'll show you again how to do that. And then, of course, you're going to take off that wand for when you choose your next color. So say the top of it, we want it to be like this color. So we're going to drag it here. Now, right after it's done, it's going to say continue filling layer. You tap that, you find the X, and you just move it to where you want it to go. When you first start coloring, that's what you're going to want to do, is move it to where you want it instead of tapping, because it's going to, wherever it's at, it's going to fill it in with that particular color. So instead of drag, like right there, I just drug it so that it wasn't on the line, because of course if you put it on the line, as you can see, it colors the line. But if you put it on that, slide it to that part where you want it colored, it colors just that part. So then let's say we want this darker color. You can change it, but you have to slide it first before you're able to tap it. Because if you don't, it'll make the, wherever that plus symbol is, it will turn it that color. So we're just going to tappity tap, tap, tap. Tap, 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 tap. You just have to make sure you tap all the lines, okay? So say you made a mistake like I did, and you see how that color is around that hair. You have to go back. And then you have to go back as far as it took for you to get that mistake off. And then you got to do another drag and drop. And then continue filling layer. Find that X, which seems to always be right there. And we're just going to tap where we want it. I do love digital coloring just because I don't need the supplies. I don't have to worry about markers running out or color pencils getting too low. I can just draw on my tablet, and I can keep drawing on the same pages over and over again. And then let's get like a skin tone color. So we're going to do this color here for her skin tone. Refill color. Again, it's, that little X is right there. And refill color, and we're going to bring it here to her shoulder. And we're just going to kind of find a really odd color here. We're going to find like this gray color. I'm going to make this one strand of her hair gray. Why? I don't know. Because I can. It's coloring. I'm supposed to have fun with it. So then we're going to color in her eye. And then her little leggies. And if you don't know what color you used, you can always click on the side over here to get the color dropper. And it tells you it's a red-orange color. And we're going to use that to color in her legs. We're going to take that off. We're going to, that color dropper, which is the square in between the two sliders. Now this lowers the opacity of your pencil. This raises the size of your pencil, okay? So we're going to go, we are going to go here to get that color because I got to color some more of her hair underneath this hair bow. Like that. And then we're going to do this. Just like that. Now, if you ever run into a situation where you go to lay a color down, so say we go to put this on her shoe and we accidentally do this. Or, no, not that. Put it on her shoe and it does something like that, where it fills in everything. See how it fills in everything? If you look at the top here, color drop threshold. Now my pen is still on the paper, okay? My pen is still on there. I haven't lifted it up yet. See how it fills it in? What you can do is slide that back to fill in less color, to drop that color threshold, because you don't want it to cover the whole page. You just want it to cover that area that you're in. But you have to watch out as well, because if you don't do it enough, you get the broken lines around the line work. You want to fill it in as much as possible, but not too much to the point where it's covering the whole page. So just back it up a little bit. Just like that. And it should stay in the color threshold that you set it in last. Okay? So then now we're going to go here. And let's color in her little bunny. See how it did there? See how it was too much to color in the bunny? It's coloring other things. Before I lift my pen, I'm going to drop the threshold. And see how it only colored in his head? That's what you want to do. So then we're going to go to his ears. And it should work properly for the rest of him. I'm trying to decide. Okay, this isn't his ear. His ear is down here. That part that I colored up there is her hair. So we're just going to color in the bunny. There we go. Just drag it back. Immediately just drag it back. Do not lift your pencil or you're going to have to backtrack and do it all over again. And then we're just going to color in his little arms. And then we're going to get the skin tone color. We're going to color in here. And we are going to get the hair color. We're going to color in the hair. We're going to get this color. We're going to color in right underneath the bunny. We're going to give him a little bushy tail, but we want it to be like a lighter color, kind of like this. So this little tail. And if something is too small for you to see, one thing I do love about digital coloring, excuse me, is that you can zoom in. So I can zoom in to make sure that I'm getting it in that line. And then we're going to get this chocolate color again to color in his little foot. And then he has this little bow that we're going to grab. And we're just going to color in this little bow. And I'm just dragging and dropping. And then we're going to do a pink nose. Now I need her hair color again. See what happens if I try to tap over here? It still leaves that color, and we don't want it that color. So we're gonna back it up. We're gonna grab it. We're gonna place it there. Color refill, grab that. Bring it over, we're just gonna put it right there, I guess. Okay. So that is how you digitally color. Now, when you're doing shading and stuff, and the funny thing is if you take the line work off, you get this cool little image. But then if you want to do shading and stuff, of course you're going to do it on top. I would recommend using a clipping mask. The reason why I say clipping mask and not alpha mask is because clipping mask lets you do shading on a different layer, so that if you mess up the shading, you can just erase the shading and not the layer. So let me explain. So say we want to do shading for her hair. We're going to do a little bit darker. So we're going to go darker. We got that soft brush. And we are going to shade in her hair. So we're going to bring up my brush a little bit. So we're going to shade the under part of her hair. Right now I have on a clipping mask, okay? The clipping mask will not allow me to color outside the color area. Meaning if I want to color over here, if I want to color down here, I can't. But if I color, say, on her face, I can. It only colors in or works on the color layer. Now, that's clipping mask. This took me forever to figure out because every video that I saw about clipping mask and alpha mask was hella confusing. And I finally figured it out. But then if you do like the alpha lock, it essentially does the same thing. See how I can't color out here, but I can color up top there. The problem with that is I'm coloring up top there on the actual layer itself. So if I make a mistake and I need to erase, I have to erase the color and the shading at the same time. That's good if you're for certain situations, but not for digital coloring. So I would advise that you stick to the clipping mask, which is a layer above it. And the reason I say that is because, here, we're going to color this in. And as you can see, we got some on her face. We got some on the teddy bear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap over to my eraser. And I'm going to erase. Now I'm only erasing on the areas that have the extra shading. But notice how it's not lifting the color of that area, just the shaded part that I put on there. This is why you want to stick to clipping mask and not alpha lock. They do the exact same thing, except for alpha lock does it on the exact same layer, whereas clipping mask lets you do it on a separate layer. So if you have a mistake, you can go back and erase it very easily without losing the color that you already originally put down. And then we're just gonna color this in. And again, you can go to your eraser, erase it off the parts you don't want it on. We're just going to clean this up a bit. Just like that. A little bit over there still. And that is how you do shading with the adult coloring in the coloring book, okay? And we're just gonna erase it from here. And if you hear me tapping on my pencil, if you have an Apple device and you have the Apple Pencil, you know that tapping on it activates the eraser, and then you can activate the pencil again as well. And then what you wanna do, or what I like to do at least, we're going to turn off the alpha lock for this. It's funny because if you turn off the clipping mask, it'll show you where all you colored. But to keep it in those lines, you turn on the clipping mask and it cleans it up. And then I'm going to just color in this last little bit up top here. And you'll see why I'm doing this. So say you want to lower the opacity of the piece that you colored. So like I just colored in all that dark purple, but I don't want it to be this dark. Now there's two ways. One, you could use the opacity slider over here and lower the opacity of the purple. Oh, not the eraser, the purple. So see how it's not so dark? You can use that, or you can just color it in at full opacity, which is what I like to do. Then come over to your layers tab, click on the N, which stands for normal, and right here at the top it says opacity. We're at max, so if I lower that, let's say we lower it to about 50%. We're at 50. And see how it's right there? And I'm going to go to my Gaussian blur. And I'm just going to blur it. And you just slide your pen across to blur that out, to kind of blend it out. And there you have it. Okay? So I guess this will go into my tips and tricks of Procreate videos in the playlist. I will try to get them all in the same playlist so that I can link them all together. Oh, let's go back down to this layer. You just got to make sure you're you're on the right layer. But I want to make this top part a little lighter of a color. Like, can we do a pastel yellow? Will that look okay? I'm going to do yellow over here. And then the neck of it is going to be like this bright color. And if you can't figure out like what color you want to use, you can always tap on your color circle here, go to harmony, and this will give you the color that goes with the color. So this is the complementary color. It has a couple of different options for colors, but we're going to stick to complementary because it only gives you two. So we're going to stick to this. We're going to choose that color. Apparently this color goes well, is complementary to the color we used there. And then if I want to split it off, there's three colors that match. So then I can use that for up here. Okay. And then you can just go back to classic, or if you like the disc, you can go to disc. So I'm at classic, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to put this on her tongue. Oop. And actually, we got to do her feet, because I don't like her socks that color. So we're going to do like some, kind of like some beige socks. And then for blending, we have this little finger pointing down. You can take that finger, make sure you got it at the right size and the opacity that you want. And you're just gonna blend it out. Just like that. So that is how you adult color from an image that is digitally downloaded. How does this work with a image that is, like, say you just have a coloring book and you want to take a picture of it? Essentially, it works the same way. So I'm going to show you here with this book. So this is a Hannah Lynn. This is Whimsy Girls Through the Decades. I've had this book for quite a while now. And we're just going to find a picture. We're going to find a picture to color. We're not going to color a full picture like we just did. We're just going to find a simple picture to just, okay, here's one. So this is the image that I want to say color, okay? So what I'm going to do is, first things first, I'm going to move this around a little bit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my camera, okay? And now I have a case on mine, so I have to move my case over. I'm going to get as much of that picture in frame as possible. So my camera's right there. Let me move this up so you can actually see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get as much of that coloring page in frame as I can. As straight as I can. And then I'm going to snap the picture, okay? Now, once you snap the picture, we're going to move the book out the way. We're going to go back into Procreate. Here's our little girl. And those coloring pages will stay right in there until you decide to delete them. So I'm going to hit plus screen size. It doesn't have to be screen size. That's just the size I like to use. You're going to go to this wrench. And it gives you a bunch of options at the top. We're going to pick add. Insert a photo. You can take a photo or you can insert a photo. You can take the photo right inside of Procreate, but I prefer to do it this way. So we're going to do this. And it came out that way, which we're just going to flip it. No big deal. And we're going to just make it the size that we want. Because we just want the image. We don't need all that extra stuff on the border and stuff. Like, so we're just going to, don't mind all the notifications. That is normal. I just forgot to turn them off. And it's not even on this tablet. It's on the other tablet. So, there we have it. There's a coloring page. Now, you can crop the coloring page if you want to before you get it in here so that it's perfect the way you want it. But this is just for example's sake. Now, just like with the other picture, we're going to multiply it because it darkens those lines up. And it tells the program to darken those lines. So there's multiply. And then there's normal. So it does darken it just a hair. Not a lot. Just enough that, you know, I can notice just a little bit of a difference. So we're going to take that layer number 2. We're going to tap on it. And we're going to move it down. See how it smushed itself when I tapped on it? Or it made itself bigger. And then we're going to lock this layer. So we're going to just shove it to the side. Okay, that's how I got to that. So I shoved it to the side and I locked it. And then on this layer here, you can drag and drop colors. Now, I will warn you, this will not work as perfectly as it does on the PDF downloads that you get from like Etsy and stuff. But you can essentially work at coloring it in and stuff. Oh, now down here. So we're going to down here. Too much. And sometimes that'll just tell you that the line isn't closed. If the line isn't closed, you can't color drop like that. And it's not actually letting me color drop at all, actually. So what if we unlock? So we're going to unlock. Let's see if it lets you do it on this layer. It lets you do it on the actual layer itself. But you want to make sure that it's only doing it on the layer. And it kind of gives you this design because it can see the pattern underneath that page. So I would recommend making sure that there's a blank sheet of something underneath the page that's not opaque so you can't see through the page. And of course you can go in and you can color it in yourself, which I would recommend that if you do that, go underneath the layer so that when you're coloring it, you still get the black line. Let's go with this color. See how it won't let me? So all you have to do essentially, and you can use the basic pencils for this. You don't need any fancy pencils or anything. Procreate comes with a lot of really good pencils. You can use the pencils that they give you. You can essentially trace this. Now I will warn that if you're going to trace the image, please do not claim the image as your own. I feel like I have to say that because I've seen quite a few people tracing images and then dropping the artist's artwork and being like, this is mine. That is not yours. It is traced. So make sure you give credit if you decide to trace it and get rid of their line work. We don't want to be out here stealing from artists and then claiming it as our own because that's plagiarism. Anyways, so we're going to do this. We're just tracing on the inside of those lines. Because then once you do that, then you can color drop. Okay? Now, doing it this way, I wouldn't recommend it. It doesn't look as nice unless you have the color even and all that. It doesn't look as nice as if you did like a digital download. And a lot of people that do coloring, like adult coloring, there is digital downloads for almost every book. Check Etsy. They're usually pretty cheap to get. I think I paid $2.99 for all of those little chibi art images. And there's quite a few of them, as you can see. So, like, I paid $2.99 for these. And it's as simple as that, and I don't have to worry about it. Another way you can do this is if you scan it into your, say you scan it onto your computer, and then you somehow airdrop from your computer to your tablet the image, or put it into Google Photos or whatever, and then you can bring it in. That's another way you can do it, where you can make sure that the image looks exactly like you want it to look, kind of like a coloring page, instead of like you took a picture of it, because you can see the quality difference between this and that. So I highly recommend doing it where you either scan it in on a computer and then bring it in that way, or just do a digital download off of Etsy, or like Hannah Lynn is notorious for having her images available not only in PDF form, which is what you're using here, but also in paperback hard copy. So if, say, you download a Hannah Lynn book, which I do have a couple of Hannah Lynn books downloaded on here, so I'm going to show you. So I'm going to go to my files, and I was showing you this earlier. Whimsy Girls Throughout the Decades is right here. So this is my Hannah Lynn coloring book, and I literally I got this from her website, okay? And then we have 14 printable coloring pages from Hannah Lynn. These are just the samples that Hannah Lynn has on her website. So if you go over to hannalynn.com, I think it is, she has a couple of different examples on her website that you can use. Okay, so these, like I said, these are just the samples. Just make sure you don't write on them. So say you want to pick one. We're going to pick the steampunk one, because you guys know I love steampunk. And you don't even have to pick one here. What you can do is at the top here, you have that share button. You can share it. And this is in my files on the tablet. I'm going to share that file to Procreate. And just like it did with the first coloring book that I bought from Etsy, it's going to bring it over to here. So when you go into your things, there it is. There's the coloring pages. And then at the bottom, the page assist will have all the other pages available down here. And just like I did with this one, I'm going to separate it. So I'm going to take this first, again, get a new page out. And then go back into the Hannah Lynn's, go to layers, press and hold until it pushes up, and you can slide it out like this. While you're still holding it, don't let it go. Press gallery, keep holding it, press the new page. Now you can let it go. Brings it over to your new page for you. And then just like this one, we are going to multiply it. And I'm going to lock it, because this isn't something that I took a picture of. It's something I downloaded. And with that, I'm then going to make a new layer. I'm going to put that layer underneath, and we're going to keep all the layers underneath after that. And then just like we just did, all right, it's not letting me do it on the Hannah Lynn. So what we're going to have to do for the Hannah Lynn is what we were doing with the coloring page, is just trace the outline of the image. We're just going to do like a messy trace here, just so I can show you. I didn't close the line because it's not closed up here. I'm going to drop it, drag and drop. Still didn't close the line. And you can lower the opacity on the top layer here. So we're going to go tap that M, and we're going to lower the opacity so I can see where I missed the line at. So here we go. We're going to erase this. We're going to trace this line here. We're going to make our line a little bit bigger. So we're going to go around. And just to make sure it fills in all the lines. And then we can go back in just like this. And we want to come up here. And you're just going to color in all those lines. And we're just tracing that to make sure that we get all those lines. We're just going to color that all in. Make sure there's no gaps, so we don't want to see any holes or anything in it. So some coloring pages will let you drag and drop and some won't. So there you have it. And say if I put the wrong color down, I want to do it darker now, I can change it to a different color. Okay. And then of course you can use that recolor if you do it correctly. If you drag, hit that recolor and see how it's on her face, so it colored everything. You just want to make sure you trace wherever you're putting it because it won't do it automatically. And that's essentially how you do digital coloring. Now, I try to be as thorough as I possibly can, but if you still have questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section of this video, and I'll do my best to answer it as quickly as I possibly can. But with that said, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, any questions, comments, or concerns, leave that down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But with that said, I got to get out of here. So with that, stay crafty, stay caffeinated, stay safe, and always try to remember to be kind to others because you never know what somebody else is going through. Be courteous because it's the right thing to do, and always stay cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.